In this video, we'll be going over the top 10 highest grossing films ever and try to understand just what exactly made them great financial moves. First, we need to make sure we have a good grasp on what the term grossed means. The Google definition is to produce or earn an amount of money as gross profit or income. Ignoring the fact that they just use the word to describe the word that we're trying to get the description of, the amount a movie or any business entity grossed is the amount that they brought in back into the company. It does not account for the amount that it actually costs to produce the product. For example, if I spent $20 million producing a movie and it brought in $100 million, it would have grossed $100 million. Profit would be the gross amount subtracted by the amount I spent to bring it into existence. So for this example, the profit would be $80 million. If you have a good grasp on those two terms, then you're all set to watch the rest of this video. Assembling at our 10th spot is The Avengers, which descended upon theaters April 11th, 2012. With a production budget of $220 million, the film blasted its way to a colossal box office gross of $1.52 billion, garnering a solid 91% on Rotten Tomatoes and matching that with an equally strong audience score. The Avengers not only thrilled audiences with explosive action, but also marked a pivotal moment in the evolution of cinematic universes, setting a stage for a new era of interconnected storytelling. This film was really the first of its kind in genre, and it captured the hearts and wallets of millions of people. For number 9, we have the live-action Lion King. Released in 2019, the remake of The Lion King, which hit theaters in June 15th, had a production budget of $260 million. The film soared its way to a remarkable box office gross of $1.66 billion. Rotten Tomatoes awarded it a low 52% score, and while the audience score stood at a little bit higher at a somewhat impressive 88%. Despite the varied critical reception, The Lion King is by far the best performing remake of Disney's classic animations. Its success is no small part and related to how amazing the original was. Roaring into 8th position is Jurassic World, which stomped onto screens June 12, 2015. With a production budget of $150 million, the film embarked on a colossal journey to a massive box office gross of $1.67 billion. The critics were divided with a 71% score on Rotten Tomatoes, while audience gave it a slightly better score at 78%. Swinging into the 7th spot is Spider-Man No Way Home, which webbed its way into theaters on December 17, 2021. This highly anticipated installment in the Spider-Man franchise brought together multiple Spider-Men from different dimensions. With a production budget of $200 million, the film soared to a staggering box office gross of $1.92 billion. Critics awarded a 85% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and audiences shared a similar sentiment with a score of 92%. In the 6th position, we have Avengers Infinity War. This entered theaters on April 27, 2018. With a production budget of $300 million, the film snapped up a massive box office gross of $2.05 billion. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of 85%, while audiences showed it even more love with a 92% score. Entering into our top 5, we have Star Wars The Force Awakens, which entered theaters on December 14th, 2015. With a production budget of $245 million, the film soared to a galactic box office of $2.07 billion. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 93% score, while audiences echoed their enthusiasm with an 85% score. Sailing into the 4th position is The Titanic, which landed into theaters December 19th, 1997. With a production budget of $200 million, the film became a cinematic juggernaut, amassing a staggering box office gross of $2.26 billion, awarding it an 88% score on Rotten Tomatoes, while audience gave it a lower 69%. Diving into the 3rd position is Avatar: Way of the Water, which entered theaters on December 16th, 2022. The sequel to the groundbreaking Avatar continued with a production budget of $460 million. The film embarked on a mesmerizing underwater adventure, accumulating in a remarkable box office of $2.32 billion. Critics weighed in with a 76% score on Rotten Tomatoes, while the audiences gave it a much higher 92% score. In 2nd place, we have Avengers Endgame, which was released April 22nd, 2019. With a production budget of $356 million, the film powered its way to an extraordinary box office gross of $2.8 billion. Critics applauded the spectacle, awarding it a 94% score on Rotten Tomatoes, while audiences resonated with a 90% score. Ascending to the coveted 1st place is the original Avatar, which entered theaters on December 18th, 2009. With a production budget of $237 million, the film soared to an unprecedented box office gross of $2.92 billion, making it the highest grossing film of all time. Critics awarded it an 82% score on Rotten Tomatoes, while audience gave it also an 82% score. If you were paying attention, or even if you weren't, you might have noticed that 5 of those 10 movies released in December, just before Christmas. 3 of them released released in April, while the final 2 released in June. I find it super interesting how releasing a big movie around Christmas appears to increase its odds of grossing a higher amount. If we took a look at the same list of movies, but from a profit point of view, interestingly enough, we find the list has shifted a little bit. The Avengers secures its position as the 10th highest grossing film based on profitability. With a profit of $1.30 billion, the film boasts almost Apple levels of profit. Jurassic World, with a profit of $1.52 billion, moves up from the 9th spot. The Lion King, with a profit of $1.40 billion, moves to the 8th spot from the 9th spot in terms of profitability. Spider-Man No Way Home, with a profit of about $1.52 billion, secures the 7th spot. Avatar: The Way of Water, with a profit of $1.86 billion, moves to the 6th position from the 3rd spot in terms of profitability. Avengers: Infinity War, with a profit of $1.75 billion, moves from the 5th spot to the 6th spot. Star Wars: The Force Awakens, with a profit of $1.82 billion, moves from 4th spot to the 5th spot. The Titanic, with a profit of $2.06 billion, moves from the 3rd position to the 4th spot. Avengers: Endgame, with a profit of $2.44 billion, maintains its position as the 2nd highest grossing film based on profitability. And finally, Avatar, with a profit of $2.69 billion, maintains its position as the highest grossing film based on profitability. I feel like after shifting these movies around to represent how much they actually earned is a better representation of the true most earning movies of all time. At its core, the movie industry is a creative powerhouse that thrives on storytelling. Filmmakers, screenwriters, directors, and actors collaborate to craft narratives that transport audiences into different worlds, challenge perceptions, and evoke emotions. Yet behind the scenes, the movie industry is also a very formidable business enterprise. It involves intricate financial strategies, market research, distribution networks, and marketing campaigns to bring films to global audiences. The allocation of budgets, negotiation of deals, management of production logistics all play a pivotal role in determining a film's success. The industry's economic impact ripples through various sectors, creating jobs, fostering innovation, and contributing significantly to local economies. In addition, the movie industry is deeply entwined with audience preferences and viewing habits. The rise of streaming services and digital distribution channels have transferred how audiences consume content. This shift has led to new business models, altered release strategies, and reshaped the traditional cinematic experiences. Many people even think that this could destroy your everyday movie theaters. If you'd like to watch a video about the current writer's strike and actor's strike, I'll have it linked right here. Thank you so much for watching. If you found any kind of value in this video, I think you'll like some of the stuff we have coming up. If you'd like to be notified, go ahead and subscribe down below.